Well, it is Tuesday, February 15th, 2022. I hope everybody enjoyed their Valentine's Day and Super Bowl Sunday this past weekend. The LA Rams are your Super Bowl 56 champions. It's kind of hard to believe that they even won in their stadium and pulled off what Tampa Bay pulled off last season. Cooper Kupp is your Super Bowl MVP. Matthew Stafford threw 2 picks in this game, but despite that won. The Bengals allowed 7 sacks on Joe Burrow. And I will say this about this game. You know, at the end of the day, the Rams are Super Bowl champions, but this was the least convincing Super Bowl win that I've ever seen in my life. 2 late penalties in the red zone in the fourth quarter, both defensive holding calls, both horrible defensive holding calls that led to a Cooper Kupp game-winning touchdown with about 1:25 to go in the fourth. That game left me scratching my head. You want to talk about giving somebody the Vince Lombardi trophy there in a silver platter? Well, there it is. The referees gave them that Super Bowl victory right now. They wanted to say, oh, we reffed a game that the team who has that stadium, who owns that stadium, won that stadium. They dictated the last, I'd say, about 45 to 55 seconds of that drive that LA had, which consisted of 15 plays. And I had the drive information right here. As soon as my thing just starts to load up, I don't know what the heck is going on. I was trying to get the thing to work. 15 plays, 79 yards in about 4 minutes, 48 seconds. And it consisted of the 2 dumbest penalties, I would say, of all the entire playoffs run. You talk about a really bad rap in this whole thing with the holding on Wilson, the offensive holding on the Rams, and the unnecessary reference on Bell, which that was also a bad call. I think either way you look at it right now, you could have accepted a holding penalty if the Bengals take it back 10 yards and see if Stafford could throw it in the end zone one more time from 15 yards out. This was a game where I look back on it, and the Bengals had a lot of missed opportunities. They had a bad start on their first possession where they turned it over at the 50-yard line. This game all the way around, if I had to rate it, I give it a 7 out of 10. It was good, and it was up to the 8 range at best. I wasn't going to go any higher than that until the referees basically, with those 2 horrendous calls, in my opinion, the holding call and the really towards Cooper Kupp. I think there was like 2 holding calls that were against Cooper Kupp there, and they were both bad. You want to talk about the least valuable moment in that game was really those 3 penalties right in the red zone right there, and that's what killed the Super Bowl for me. And I gotta be honest. I mean, overall, my enjoyment of the game here, this was the first Super Bowl that I can remember as a viewer watching this game and trying to listen to the fanfare of this game. Neither crowd cared. Nobody cared about who won this game. Nobody seemed the least bit interested. They were just there because the stars were there. It's like going to an LA Laker game now today with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook. You're just there just to be there to watch the game and hang out with the celebrities. And that's what it felt like watching this game. There was there might be people that were buying the gear to get into it. It's like, yeah, why not? Be a part of it, I guess. But I didn't feel the crowd energy from either side, whether it was a Bengals side, whether it was a Rams side. And I think that's a problem overall if, in general, we get another Super Bowl in SoFi Stadium. That's one thing. The other thing is the performance. I didn't think the performance was overall spectacular. I thought that the attention was more on Dr. Dre and Snoop Dogg here. Eminem had like a short thing, I guess. But really, it was all about Snoop Dogg here and his cashmere outfit, if that was cashmere. This was just not a fun Super Bowl by any means. As a viewer, if I'm at a bar, sure, why not? There's pretty girls at the bar. You get drinks. Why not? They're all decked. They're all excited. They're all partying. That's a nice atmosphere. That's an atmosphere that should be at the Super Bowl. You might as well have been watching a golf match. That's what the Super Bowl felt like. And that's what the biggest football season there is, making up for the COVID bull crap that happened last year, adding an extra week to the game, making more games out of it, adding an extra wild card weekend, a super wild card weekend, a phenomenal division round, an awesome conference championship weekend. And the payoff to the whole thing of it is the most neutral, environmental Super Bowl in the history of a Super Bowl. Nobody cared who won the game. Nobody gave a crap about what was going on. There was no excitement to it. And for a game that was not as penalized as much as it was, I think the Rams were only about 2 penalties in the game, 15 yards in, and I think the Bengals had about 4 penalties at 35 yards. By the way, out of those penalties that the Bengals had, 3 of them were bad calls. I'm sorry. 3 of them were bad calls. You had that one with the inactive Vernon Hargreaves. I believe that's the second or the third. I don't know if he's the second or the third, whatever his name is resenting under. But it just, to me, that was a game that I just felt at the end of the day felt dead flat. It had a great finish in the end with Cooper Kupp getting the MVP as he had his 8-catch, 92-yard, 2-touchdown night. Basically an average Cooper Kupp night playing football. That's it. That's really what it really came down to. And at the end of the day, if I really had to say right now, if this was the most Super Bowl of all time, I'd say, yeah, it's right up there. And I've watched every classic Super Bowl game on NFL Network or on NFL or on my phone on YouTube. I mean, there's usually a fan base that actually is like rooting for a certain team. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't hear it all night. It might as well have been an empty arena. Like, I mean, it just didn't feel as exciting as it should have been, especially for the Super Bowl. But here I'm recapping it here on a Tuesday. I would have done it yesterday, but I've had a busy day yesterday. Mike is not here, so it's just me today. So that's that. He'll be back here on Saturday. He had errands to run and he had things to do. So he could not join us. And he also has work later on. So it's a variety of things. I mean, our schedules are busy. I got a basketball game to go to tonight. I just had an issue just now with the tickets because the ticket mobile app was not working. In fact, it's not even allowing me to retransfer the ticket. So now this is going to be a hassle now at this point. I might have to call these people back right now and have my friend transfer the tickets over that way to him so he has access to the tickets. At this point, I don't know. It's just, this whole thing is just strange. Anyway, so I'll take care of that after I do the review real quick. I'm only going to review the Super Bowl just for today. There was a lot of stuff I was going to be able to get into, but with the time restrictions that I have, I just don't have the time. So here is Super Bowl 56 recap. And yes, I did pick the Bengals to win by 3. This game did end in a 3-point finish with the Rams winning 23-20. But here's how the game pretty much started out here. First quarter out, first play of the drive, Cam Akers runs to the left side of the field, 4 yards, gets tackled by Hubbard. Akers, again, Stafford was in a no-huddle scenario of passing it short in the middle to Akers for a first down at the 36-yard line. Akers ran off it again, was tackled by Zui, no gain. Stafford was sacked, lost 7 yards. Trey Hendrickson getting the sack here. Henderson running to the left end of the field, losing 3 yards, and that's what resulted into a Ram punt. So that was the first drive. Here's the first drive of the Bengals. Joe Burrow passing it to Tyler Boyd, 8 yards, getting into midfield. Mixon ran to the left side for 1 yard. Perrine ran to the right side, got no gain, went to a 3-and-out there until the Bengals tried to go for a 4th down. Now, this is one of the dumb decisions of the night because this actually aggravated me even more. So instead of relying on your defense, which, by the way, they were improving throughout most of the season. That's that. The other thing is it's a 4th and 1 at the – I know it's a Super Bowl. It's great. Trust your defense. You just forced Matthew Stafford to go backwards. You forced him into a 3rd and 17. You sacked the guy. He lost 7 yards. You got pressure on Matthew Stafford, right? You just did that. And the one thing you don't do is you try to go for it on fourth down, knowing that you're going to pass it to Ja'Marr Chase. They're reading this play a mile away. You got to call an audible or call a timeout, make them draw off sides, do something that makes sense. What do they do instead? They go right through with it. They go for it. They pull the risk here. They pull a Brandon Staley here, especially is what I call it. Them failing on a fourth down, because that's what the Chargers do. They fail on fourth down every time. The Bengals here basically did that on their first play of the possession in the Super Bowl. So it led to a turnover on downs, and it led to a nice drive for the Rams. K-Makers running it to the right, lost a yard. Stafford scrambling up the middle. He got 7 yards. Later on, Stafford threw for 20 yards to Cooper Kupp, wide open. I mean, this was a nightmare. It was a nightmare, really, this first possession, because they weren't double-teaming Kupp, and they were playing zone for most of it. Henderson ran to the left side for 4 yards, which set up the nice 17-yard pass play to Henderson to the 3, and Odell got his 3-yard touchdown reception, his first touchdown in the Super Bowl of his career, his very first Super Bowl game. He gets a touchdown for it. He's a key contributor. In the game in total, he had 2 catches for 52 yards and a touchdown, but that's all he got, because I'll give you more detail in just a second of what happened, of what ended up happening to Mr. Odell Beckham Jr., which was he got injured in the game. I'll tell you where the injury came in just a second, but they scored a touchdown, 7-0. So Bengals punt and 3 and out. The Rams get a 3 and out. The Bengals then kick a field goal, making it 7-3 at their drive with 6 plays, 60 yards down the field. Mixon running it for 13 yards, got a first down. Chase got 46-yard reception from Burrow. Nice deep throw from him. Burrow threw an incomplete pass to Higgins, threw another incomplete pass to Mixon, and threw another incomplete pass to Ty Higgins in the middle. So led to a field goal, 29 yards. That kick is good. Next possession for the Rams. Cooper, let's see here. Akers right up the middle, losing a yard. Stafford threw an incomplete pass. 3rd and 11. Stafford connects 35 yards to Odell Beckham Jr. was pushed out of bounds by Eli Apple. Eli Apple, I gotta say right now, is a complete bust here. I mean, he is allowing so many open plays. I think he was the worst defender of the night for the Bengals, allowing those 2 touchdown receptions from Cooper Kupp. I mean, that's gonna really do it for you. Sorry I spoiled it for you, but that's what happened. Later on, Stafford threw a pass to Henderson, again, pushed out of bounds at the Cincinnati 16-yard line for 25 yards. Led it up to a Cooper Kupp touchdown from 11 yards out. They said here they were trying to go for a 2-point conversion here. I'm just getting off the notes here by detail here. I don't know. Some people are telling me it was a 2-point conversion. The guy lost the ball. He pulled a Tony Romo here from 06 where he couldn't handle the ball. They weren't going for 2, and it would have never made any sense for them to go for 2 anyway. They were trying to desperate heave it. There was no sense. It got picked off. Then it was a lateral for the Bengals. It was almost returned. I don't think it would have counted as a touchdown. It would have been counted as a safety. So it would have been 13-5 at that point. So what the hell would have been the difference there? Anyway, so the next drive, Bengals get a nice thing going, nice fluid motion going with Burrow, 11 yards from Boyd to 36. Burrow threw it in the middle to Ja'Marr Chase for 10 yards for a first down. Mixon ran it for 14 yards, gets another first down. Mixon again runs to the left, gets for 4 yards. Burrow, short pass to Mixon, got no gain. Burrow then throws to LA 19 for 14 to Higgins, which set up a T. Higgins 60-yard touchdown reception from Joe Mixon with a nice wasn't the Philly special. It was the running back pass here. You're tossing the running back. He's going to go for a run, but he's trying to fake it out here and then throw the pass to the end zone. So that's what happened. Score's now 13-10. Bengals are right now down by 3. Later on in the second quarter right now, Akers running it for 6 yards. Then Stafford threw for 13 to Van Jefferson. Akers were again running up the middle for 1. Stafford threw an incomplete pass right to Odell Beckham Jr., and that's where the injury happened. It was a non-contact tear in the ACL. He hyperextended it, I believe, in the left knee, and he would not return the game. Sad day and a sad moment for Odell. He couldn't play in the rest of the Super Bowl, but he was a key contributor, so he didn't earn that ring because he was a key reason why the Rams were leading at most of the point of the game. Later on in the drive, Stafford threw a deep pass, left the Denver Van Jefferson. He was intercepted by James Bates III in the end zone in Cincinnati. However, it was penalized by, you guessed it, Farvagus. This is where it came into play here, the third. Coming out inactive in a sweatshirt, jumping up and down with the team, celebrating like they just won the Super Bowl. This is before the end of the half here, really. This drive led to nothing. Missed opportunity. Burrow, they had a drive going. They got down to the 15 for 5. Burrow threw a short right to C.J. Uzomah for 6, got the first down. Burrow threw a pass to Tyler Boyd to Cincinnati 25 for 4 yards. Cincinnati called a timeout. Burrow then gets sacked. He gets sacked here on a 3rd and 6, and he loses 8 yards. And this is where he had a kick for 51 yards out, and then Rams went 3 and out, and that was the end of the half. So in this case here, missed opportunity by the Bengals right now. Burrow got sacked. That offensive line was putrid all night long. Very putrid. Bengals open up the half, first play. Well, simply put right now, was it pass interference? Higgins, it looked like he may have made contact with the hand to Ramsey's face, and it looked like Ramsey flopped. Did a little sell job there, but some people are saying it was pass interference. I look at it like this. It really wasn't a full-on extension. As you look back in the replay, I didn't think it was. I didn't think it was pass interference at all. In fact, even Ramsey even knew this wasn't pass interference. Nobody in the Rams sideline was flipping out. And it was Ramsey just blowing a play. It's that simple. One play, 75 yards down the field. Burrow connects with T. Higgins. That was his second grab of the night. He had 4 catches for 100 yards in the game and for 2 touchdowns. That I didn't see coming. You know, I got to be honest. The wide receiver core for Cincinnati all night long was hit or miss. And for Higgins to have that moment, first play of the second half, it was phenomenal. It was a great, phenomenal, play for Higgins, and probably the biggest play of his career so far. And he'll probably have more of it with Joe Burrow by his side, along with Ja'Marr Chase. But anyway, so it's 17-13. First play for Stafford, what does he do? Well, he throws an interception. It was deflected by I think it was deflected off of Sawinski, the wide receiver for the Rams, and intercepted by Azui down in the LA 32. This led to a field goal, sadly. 8 plays, 11 yards. It took about 5 minutes of clock off. Burrow got sacked after he threw a pass to Mixon for no gain. Then he threw a pass to Ja'Marr Chase for 10 yards. And Joe Burrow tried to scramble up the middle, was 1 yard short. It led to a first down. He got it for 4 yards. Excuse me. And then Burrow throws it to CJ for 5. Then he gets sacked again, losing 9 yards there, which led to the field goal. Was down 20-13. So this was a lot of missed opportunities. Not really a lot of risk being taken here by the Bengals here in this case. I think they took too many risks here. When it really came down to it, there were some certain scenarios where I think they never called any audibles all night long. There might have been like 4 or 5 audibles that were called in the entire game, but it's not like they paid off. It led to Joe Burrow getting sacked. And the sacks in this game, I got to say, I mean, when they were calling the audibles in the moment, like the touchdown reception, that was an audible call. The Mixon play and throwing in the end zone, that was an audible. That was supposed to be a play action pass. It ended up being a running back pass instead from Mixon. There were a lot of changes in some certain plays here. The 4th and 1 play, they called no audible. They didn't even try to draw him offside. They didn't even try to do anything that would have remotely made a lot of sense in this game. You got to take a risk in the Super Bowl. I get it. But at the same time, you got to play smart for your quarterback. Your quarterback is going to get derailed all night long. He got sacked twice by Von Miller. He got sacked twice by Aaron Donald. He got sacked once by Floyd. Everybody took a shot at him at one point in this game. So it was one of those nights where he was just going to get tackled down. He had no chance. He got hit at one point. He was limping off the field at one point in the game. What else can you say? What else can you say about this game? Other than there were so many missed opportunities and so many questionable decision making. Next possession for the Rams right now. They had the Bengals getting a field goal. It led to Akers trying to run out right now. Akers did not have a good night running the ball. As a matter of fact, let me just go to the box score real quick here and let you all know what he got in this game. He had 13 carries for 21 yards. The Rams could not run the ball to save their lives all night long. The Bengals were in the same mix, really, not really, although Mixon did get 15 carries for 72 yards in this game. I mean, there's not much to say here. I mean, Burrow was sacked 7 times and he lost 43 yards in this game. The quarterback rating, his rating overall was a 101.0, which I thought was a lot lower. But anyway, now back to this. Back to the play at hand here, which was the Rams' possession here, as they had a strong, as they kicked the field goal here, they made it 20-16. This is what led to it. It's what led to their field goal here. They had Stafford throw an incomplete pass to Cooper Kupp. Later on, connected with Henderson for at the 42 for 15 yards. Henderson ran up the middle. Then again, Cooper Kupp got a 13, picked up 13 yards. Later on, Stafford again throwing it to Hopkins for 16 yards. Stafford again throwing it to Soronsky again, who allowed the interception. He was pushed out about to the 21. Akers ran up the field, lost 2 yards. Incomplete pass, 4th down. Mac Akers a 41-yard field goal. So at that point, it's 20-16. Now, after several punts here, this is going to be – I'm just going to fast forward here to the end of the game here. This is the 4th quarter. Nothing's happened here. A lot of missed opportunities as well by the Bengals at this point. It led to sacks. Burrow was sacked by Floyd in this game, was sacked by everybody in this game, really. This game all the way around was a nightmare if you were Joe Burrow. I'm being honest here. It was not a good night. There was a drop pass to Tyler Boyd. He dropped it with about 6:22 to go. That was the critical moment there where I knew the Bengals were in trouble. But anyway, after all that, the Rams are going to give the 15-play drive simple like this. Stafford passing a short right to Hopkins for 9. Stafford doing an incomplete pass to Soronsky. 31 now leads to a 4th down. They go for it. Stafford throws it. They go for it for Cooper Kupp here. He runs for 7 yards, gets the 1st down. Now no huddle. Stafford throws an incomplete pass to Akers. Stafford throws to Kupp for 8 yards. Later on, Stafford throws it to 6 yards to Hopkins. 3 yards to Akers. Then a nice play, 22 yards to Cooper Kupp at the Cincinnati 24-yard line. Now this is where it gets interesting. 8-yard run from Akers. 2-minute warning. 8-yard run from Akers again up the middle of the 16 is the 1st down. Later on, Stafford, this was the reader. This was the Cincinnati. This was the penalty on Cincinnati here for the defensive holding. Worst holding call of the entire thing. I don't even know why they even call it holding. He barely even nudged him. He deflected the ball. Who was making a play for the ball? It's that simple. You either gotta not really hold him, but put him in place here. This was basically setting him up for the deflection here. He had his hand on his back. Covered an incomplete pass in the end zone because it was 1 foot in bounds, so he was able to make the grab, but Eli Apple just decked him. It was not helmet-to-helmet contact. I don't know why they called it that. It was stupid. He wasn't targeting the guy. But then you also had the offensive holding call in the end zone. So there was a lot of things that happened here in that scenario there. Harvesting was called back. Then there was a pass interference penalty by Eli Apple, which the ball was spotted at the 1, and then Cooper Kupp gets a 1-yard touchdown reception. Later on, last chance for the Bengals. Jamar Chase gets him down the field. He gets about, I believe it was 20. I think it was like 20 or 17 yards at the 42. Burrow gets a pass down to Boyd, 9 yards. 2nd and 1. Joe Burrow. Here, I don't get why they wouldn't try to run it here. I mean, or try to throw it. They were trying to throw it deep right at Jamar Chase there. That was a dumb call. Perine was on back-to-back plays there. He was on the 31, didn't get anywhere, and Mixon was still on the sidelines. Doing incomplete pass again to Perine. Jamar Chase was wide open because Ramsey fell down on that 4th and 1. And this is where Donald came in, forced Burrow to spin around, win his 8th sack of the game. Game over. Rams win 23-20. Very disappointing finish for Joe Burrow. It looked like he was making some things happen in that drive, but was not meant to be. Was not meant to be. Was not a very good day in this scenario for the Cincinnati Bengals, as they're now all-time in the Super Bowl 0-3 in their Super Bowl appearances. The Rams, arguably the LA Rams technically, are, I believe, 1-2, I believe, in the Super Bowl all-time. The Rams organization in general has won at least 2 Super Bowls. They won the St. Louis Rams and the LA Rams. Anyway, so that's that. There's not much else to it. Anyway, so yeah, that's your Super Bowl recap. Performance, I would say, was a 6 out of 10. The game itself was a 7 out of 10 with a neutral crowd and bad officiating, and even the fans didn't even care about the calls here. This is what offends me about this one. I know it's the LA market. You're going to make money off the Super Bowl. I understand that. The Super Bowl is supposed to be exciting. This was the deadest environment type feel for any Super Bowl game that I've ever watched in my life. I don't know if this will be like this in Las Vegas in 2 years when they hosted it at Allegiant Stadium, although there is a nightclub there too, so who knows? Maybe there'll be something fun there. But, I mean, let's be real here for a minute. This was a dead Super Bowl game. It was not a good viewing shit for anybody. I don't think anybody really even cared who won the game. Even though there were people that doing parlays on FanDuel and DraftKings and all that. I had a parlay too. That didn't do great for me at all. In fact, it shit the bed for me. Overall in this game, I just thought as a game, dead environment. Not really a lively crowd, not really a lively bunch. Not much else to say here. Anyway, it was just not a good night. All in all, it was not a good night overall. Cooper Kupp got the MVP. Matthew Stafford had 26 for 40, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks. He was sacked twice in the game. Joe Burrow, 22 for 33, 263 yards, 1 touchdown, no pick. He was sacked 7 times in the game. Mixon had 15 carries for 72 yards. Chase had 1 carry for 4 yards. This wasn't the story of the game here, as T. Higgins had 4 catches for 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. Jamar Chase had 5 catches for 89 yards, no touchdowns. Tyler Boyd had 5 catches for 48 yards, no touchdowns. CJ Uzomah only had 2 catches for 11 yards. He was limited because of the knee that he had injured prior to the AFC title game. Not much else to say there. Cooper Kupp and Lennon catches 8 catches, 92 yards, 2 touchdowns. Odell had 2 catches for 52 yards. Hopkins had 4 catches for 47 yards, no touchdowns. Henderson had 3 catches for 43 yards. Van Jefferson had 4 catches for 23 yards in this game. So that was that. This was overall a very good game for the Rams defensively. Floyd had a sack. Robinson had a sack. Jones had a sack. Von Miller and Aaron Donald had 2 sacks in the game. I think Donald combined with Von Miller here to get 6 tackles combined. And if you had to combine it all together, it was a grand total of from that top, that defense all in all, it was at least 20 tackles in this game. And the Bengals were able to run against this team, so that wasn't the issue there. The issue in this game was pass protection. And I think that this is going to be a long journey for Joe Burrow to try and create a dynasty in Cincinnati if he just does not get any offensive linemen to help him. There's going to be some free agents out there. If I'm Cincinnati, I'm cashing in on some offensive linemen. You don't need any wide receivers. You got enough. If you need to re-sign some people, don't give them a lot of chunk money. I'd say give Higgins a raise. I would say that. That's one thing I would do. But if you need an offensive line, it's not a good thing. It really isn't. It really is a sad thing that offensive line played like that on Sunday night. Very pathetic performance on their part. Very sad. The entire offensive line should be ashamed of themselves. Anthony Brown could be a free agent. I don't think he's going to stay in Kansas City. He's the former Baltimore Raven lineman who protected Lamar Jackson and recently just protected Patrick Mahomes. In this case here, you get a guy like him. You get a guy like Trent Brown, the right tackle from New England, who was a former Las Vegas Raider and two-time Patriot, also one-time Super Bowl champion. Brown, I believe, has not won the ring, I don't believe, with the Ravens. But you get him. You get Joe Thuney, the former Patriot and current Kansas City Chief player. I think he wants out of Kansas City anyway. I just have that feeling that that's not going to end well for him. In fact, I just think he's not happy in Kansas City. I don't think he is. He's not really a big name. No one really talks about that much in Kansas City. But if you put him in Cincinnati here with a former Patriot like Trent Brown, the chemistry these guys have, even though Thuney's a left guard, you put Brown at left tackle and you have Joe Thuney there. He could be your left guard or center here. I think it works out for your offensive line. It really does protect Joe Burrow over time. Now, people are saying he's the next Andrew Luck because he doesn't get protected as well. Well, I hate to freaking clue you. If this guy's the next Andrew Luck, then he's going to retire well before Luck did, if that's the case. Because the way Burrow is getting hit in that game, he'll be lucky to even last the age of 27. But if Burrow gets protection, he'll be the next Tom Brady. He needs that protection to get there. Right now, I think he already surpassed being the next Tom. I mean, he is the current next Tom Brady. At this point, as far as I'm concerned, he's now got the torch. Tom Brady, he basically took that torch that was holding out by Brady in Tampa Bay. And he figured, we got the team that's going to win the Super Bowl. And they should have won the Super Bowl, in my opinion. I think they got robbed. Now, there are a lot of missed opportunities there, a lot of missed time management from Zach Taylor's point of view for not taking the timeout on that 4th and 1 between the first quarter and really just in that last possession. That was stupid on his part. To not even try to draw him off sides. Like, I know you're not going to get it, but you call a timeout then so you don't take the delay of game penalty and force 5 yards. This is the same case here, only the difference is you can't take a 5-yard penalty and you can't take a timeout and make a good decision. You either have Joe Mixon run it, you do a screen, or whatever you got to do. You could even do that running back pass and have Joe Mixon throw a touchdown in the end zone to Jamar Chase. Wide open. It was the perfect game plan. You could have changed it, and it was easy because Ramsey fell on his ass. I don't know how hard that is. It's really not that difficult when you think about it to make that change. But no, we gotta get Joe Burrow not protected. And I think he knew that Jamar Chase got loose there, and whoever the left guard was, I don't even remember what his number was, did an awful job blocking him. They should have double teamed Donald from the start, and they didn't. And he nearly got freaking ripped in half again by Aaron Donald. Burrow did. So you want to know something? That was pathetic, what they did in the end there. But as far as how the Rams got there and how they got to that 1 yard line with those 2 or 3 penalties back to back there, I thought it was poor red zone defense. I thought it was poor officiating by the referee's part. The Bengals got themselves in that position. The taunting in the end zone was pretty stupid there. There were 3 dumb penalties all in all in this game. 3 dumb ones that were on that possession, let alone. Now, granted, they were offsetting here, but they do count in my opinion. So technically, I guess there might have been a holding call or a false start call there that was one of those 2 earlier penalties maybe. I don't know. But there were 2 penalties in the red zone there. So to me, I count that one as a 5th one. So I guess an asterisk one technically. But really it was 4 penalties in the game by the Bengals. But anyway, that game all in all in of itself, the Rams won the most non-convincing Super Bowl of all time. And Sean McVay now will be known as a guy that took Matthew Stafford in year 1 to a Super Bowl. And McAfee right now has got a great staff that now will ascend to the future because they're all successful. Everyone who's been part of that McAfee train so far has been successful so far. Brandon Staley, his first year as a Charger head coach, they're 9-8. Yeah, they missed the playoffs, but they're 9-8. They got a bright future ahead of them. Kevin O'Connell, who's now going to be the head coach now for the Vikings. I mean, great guy. You know, he'll take the Vikings somewhere, whether it's Kirk Cousins or somebody else. Anybody who's been part of that Ram train knows it right now. And Zach Taylor was part of it too. He just faced off against his former guy. So this right here proved that McAfee's way is better than the Bill Belichick Patriot way. That's what it is. Now, the game might not be convincing. There might be some little referee tampering going on there, which I'm going to call it that right now. But a win's still a win. A win's still a win. As painful as that sounds, and as painful as it is right now, a win's a win. I got to give a shout out to my girl, Anna, at Bo's Village. She's a big Rams fan. So congrats to her team. Even though she's not, even though she wasn't like, she was kind of forced to be a Rams fan, but she was right. I was wrong. I'm willing to admit that. But yeah, congrats to your LA Rams. Shout out to Sean McAfee. Shout out to Odell Beckham Jr. and the fam and his fam. Shout out to Aaron Donald. Shout out to Von Miller getting his 2nd ring with 2 different franchises. First, he got one with Denver in 2015, and now he's got one here with the LA Rams. So that's that. You can subscribe here on YouTube. I'm going to call it a wrap here because I got to get going. That's the end of our show. You can subscribe on YouTube here. Let us interrupt you here on Joe and Mike on YouTube. Or you can just go and let us interrupt. You can just type it on YouTube. There are some different websites that I will be publishing on my Facebook newsfeed post on my regular account for Facebook, which is Joseph Olivo. I will be posting on Instagram as well. Probably put a story on Instagram as well if I can today. You can follow me on Snapchat, JOlivosports123. You can follow me on Instagram, Joseph_Edward_Olivo. You can follow Michael Smith on MJ Smitty97. He will be back here on Saturday. He could not make the show here today. His schedule was it wasn't going to work out. But you got me today doing a review. It's a quick review. It's probably one of the quickest episodes we've ever done on the show, or I ever done by myself, really. I mean, we were rambling on for 2 hours if I really wanted to, but I really can't do that today. Another thing I want to promote is my friend Steve Robinson, Brian Reyes, and Paul. I can't say his last name. Paul Solomon, I think his last name is. I can't think of his last name. Has got a podcast going on. It's called Menacing Society. I believe they're on SoundCloud. And they might. I don't believe they're on Spotify. They might be on YouTube. But they have a podcast called Menacing Society. You can listen to it. I think it's on. I believe it's on Audible. I believe, I could be wrong, but it is on Audible. It is on YouTube. You can follow Steve. You can follow them on Instagram. Fly Guy Reyes for Brian Reyes, and I'm gonna look up the Steve Robinson account on my phone here. You can follow the real Steve Robinson if you want to be able to message him on Instagram. He does have and this is on the. I think this is not the podcast. I just clicked on the wrong feed here. But I guess this is old movie clip here is on his thing. So that's not the link to his podcast. But the name of the show is Menacing Society. If you want to give a quick look up, if you want to comment on their stuff, you can go right ahead and do that. If you want to comment on my podcast, let us interrupt you. You can go ahead as well. You can put that in the comment section. So I am signing off here. I will be going to the Villanova PC game. I will probably do a sound off on that game tomorrow if I get a chance. And yeah, that's that. So have a great week, guys. Maybe I'll see you tomorrow. Maybe I won't. But the podcast episode 24 will be on Saturday, and Mike will be back here. Until then, have a great week, guys.